about Caritas Nigeria, which is marking its 13 years anniversary of service to humanity, with Executive Secretary of the Caritas Nigeria, Reverend Father Uchechukwu Obodoechina, and Senior Advisor Communications and Business Development Caritas Nigeria, Cecilia Agrinya, who is in the studio as well. Good morning. It's good to have you.
Morning.
And you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. I know, Reverend Father, I know I would start with you, but I would like to do ladies first. So let me start with you, Cecilia. So 13 years and counting. How far so far?
Okay, thank you very much. It's good to be here. So we are very delighted to be celebrating our 13th anniversary. So from inception, Caritas Nigeria has been reaching out to people in need through our various interventions across 6 thematic areas in health, humanitarian services, good governance, agriculture and livelihood, institutional capacity strengthening, and anti-human trafficking and irregular migration. So over the years, we've been able to reach out to over 15 million beneficiaries across these thematic areas. And we are really glad because we are at the grassroots. So our interventions go to those in need in hard-to-reach communities. Because as you know, the Catholic Church has a network of institutions and organizations at the grassroots that reach out to those in need. So regardless of ethnicity, regardless of religion and political affiliation, so our interventions are just for those in need, the vulnerable community. And we are delighted that we've been able to reach so many people within 13 years.
All right, let me come to, of course, Reverend Father here. 2010, we are now in 2023. Some of the core values I remember when I did a little bit of a research on Caritas was the fact that you focused on dignity, solidarity, and stewardship. And she's mentioned that as well. Now the 13th anniversary is here. Do you think you've been able to achieve a lot? I mean, she's talked about how far you've come, but in terms of achievements and influencing lives, do you think you've done quite a lot in that regard?
Yeah, thank you. 13 years is a very significant number, and our intervention in the light of our values, if you are talking about human dignity, solidarity, subsidiarity, these are very important concepts, but they are to be concretized in our relationship with people, because it's about human beings, human persons. So in our dealings with people, we respect the dignity of each and individual human person. There is a reason for that. The reason is our belief and our conviction that human beings are images of God, created in God's image and likeness, and therefore have also value in themselves. And so when we are dealing with, for example, a HIV-infected person, we do not treat him or her as a file. We treat him as a human being having some health challenges. And then we approach him with some honor and respect for his integrity, for his personhood, and then for his life. And so even though he is sick, he's a human being that is sick. And so even when we're dealing with refugees and migrants, people who are at the fringe of society, it behooves us as this organization to ensure that we respect their persons and their dignity. And in relating to people in need, the principles of solidarity requires our total commitment to their well-being. Yeah, because we cannot say that we belong to one family of God and we are brothers and sisters, and then we abandon them in their most moments of need. And so a greater sign of solidarity is how we respond to the exigencies of individual persons and communities when they are in very difficult situations. And especially today in Nigeria, where you know we have deficit at all levels. The service deficit, poor governance structures and systems, where things are difficult for everyone. The only thing that can survive and save us all is the spirit of solidarity, where we recognize that we are all together, we're all human beings in need of one another's sustenance and assistance and support. And so it's a value that we also espouse and encourage people from all other walks of life to see their neighbors as human beings and treat them responsibly as human beings. not as objects. In spite of the differences around us, yeah, what unites us is stronger, and more valued. Images of God, men and women of God, people of the same nation, and redeemed in Him too.
All right, still staying with you, Reverend Father, because I know Caritas means, I know it's a Latin word, it means love and compassion. And you've talked about human capital development. And I want to also know what length of time that assistance, that empathy, that development happens. When the last year, when you turned 12, you talked about the fact that you build relationships with people for a long time, especially at the community level. But with the influx of 1 million or more people in the poverty bracket in Nigeria, has it been overwhelming, to say the least?
Yeah, the truth of the matter is that we are dealing with a systemic problem of misgovernance, poverty, and inequality. These have come to stay with us. And in our interventions, we try as much as possible to mitigate the occurrence of these anomalies. Yeah? We cannot say within the last 1 year we've been able to mitigate all. No, it's not possible in the context. Yeah? But in our relationship, we have tried extensively to see that the impact of what we are doing in the communities of our intervention, for example, how we are working in Ogoja, for example, with over 11,000 Cameroonian refugees in Nigeria, for example. It's amazing to see the level of relationship, friendship we have built, and then the type of respect and honor that we have been able to accord them in spite of the prevailing circumstances. We also know, in the Northeast, for example, the outcome of the insurgency in the base states of Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa. People are really in need. Yeah? People of all tribes and of all religions. And because we are a faith-based organization that does not discriminate against anyone, then we go out in love and in charity. Yeah? Because we believe that we are all human beings, sons and daughters of God. And that alone, even without some material support, is so satisfactory that human beings need also the support of one another. Yeah? The encouraging words, and then the compassion being expressed. And even the listening, the ability to listen to the stories of others gives them some level of comfort, and then some support and some courage even to go on in their normal way of life. So that for these years we are grateful to our great friends and funders for the support, especially the Bishops' Conference of Nigeria that has always supported us in our interventions with their fatherly sustenance and fraternal support, and our able funders at all levels, in the humanitarian sector, in the health sector, in the rural sector, so as to be able to reach more people who are in need for the fullness of life.
All right, let me come to you, Cecilia, just as we round up. Caritas dates far back into time. I think 1897 was the first one that came in Germany under Lorenzo Wettmann. But in terms of activities for this year's celebration and anniversary, what are we looking out for? What do you hope to be doing on this special anniversary?
Okay, thank you for that. So it's going to be a week-long activity. We actually started on Monday, and on Tuesday we had our opening mass. After the opening mass, we had a visit to a correctional facility, the one in Suleja, where we conducted medical outreach to the inmates, and then we are also trying to secure the release of some inmates who have been there for minor offenses, especially those who have offenses that are as minor as paying a fine of 10,000 naira. So we are working with the correctional facility to see how we could release such inmates. And then yesterday we had a youth and women roundtable where we engaged with young people and women, trying to understand their challenges and also trying to see how we could come into support. Most of them were really excited because we did some things around career growth, we did some things around empowerment, skills acquisition and all. So that activity will still go on even after this week's celebration. Today we are going to have an international conference where we'll be talking about, where the topic is going to be focusing on climate change. As you know, climate change is issue around the world. So, and looking at the Pope's encyclical, the Laudato Si, Caritas Nigeria is championing faith-based organization and faith-based communities engagement, faith-based communities initiative to be able to address climate change. So that will happen today. And tomorrow, which is Friday, we're going to have a climax of our event with the launch of 2 projects. The first one is a skills acquisition project, which is going to be targeting indigent households and vulnerable groups. And then also we're going to be talking about the Safe Water project, which will be implemented across the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, and it's quite a lot of events to unfold, and I'm sure you'll be reaching out to the most vulnerable in the community. Thank you so much, Reverend Father Uchechukwu Obodoechina, and Senior Advisor, Communications and Business Development, Caritas Nigeria, Cecilia Agrinya. Thank you, and I wish you all the best. Happy celebrations.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we continue,